Meeting of the Joint Review Committee. The Joint Review Committee was formed in 2004 via an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Tempe and the Board of Regents on behalf of Arizona State University. This body reviews projects on ASU land that have a commercial content and that abut City of Tempe rights of way. It's different than most other review bodies of this kind in several respects, and that's the reason that I mentioned that to you this evening. On our agenda this evening, we will begin with consideration of meeting minutes from the last several months. Does a member of the committee wish to make a motion if you've had a chance to review these minutes for the study session of March 7th?
So moved.
It has been moved by Mr. Blavia that we would approve the study session March 7th minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ken Lufkin. Any comments? Any discussion about the minutes? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And the minutes of the study session of March 7th are approved. Next is the study session from May 9th, 2018. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Cherrier. Any discussion? All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the minutes of the study session for May 9th are approved. The last set of minutes was our regular meeting, also on May 9th. Does a member of the committee wish to move for approval?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Lufkin. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Sherrier, thank you. It has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of our regular meeting on May 9th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the May 9th regular meeting minutes are approved. And we'll move into agenda item number 4 on our regular portion of the agenda. And we will have a presentation for a development plan review for the 6-story commercial development consisting of 170,000 square feet for 777 Tower at Novus. And Ms. Voss, I think you're going to present for us this evening.
I'm going to start a presentation. Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the Commission, for your record, my name is Manjula Voss, law firm of Gamage and Burnham. I'm here on behalf of the Ryan Companies and University Realty regarding the 777 Tower at Novus. I'm going to just start briefly this presentation. John Strittmatter from Ryan is going to talk a little bit about Ryan, and then I'm going to come back. And I know we went through a little bit of Novus last time, but for some of the new members, we can go back through some of the master planning of Novus. So I'll go back through that really briefly. And then Richard Drinkwater from Davis will go through the architecture, and then we're happy to answer any questions. So right now I'm going to turn it over to John, and he's going to talk to you about Ryan and their history in the community.
Thank you.
Members of the Commission, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be back here tonight. As Manjula said, I'm going to chat a little bit about Ryan, and I've had the pleasure of being able to do that for 33 years. I've been with him 33 years, and a lot has changed in 33 years. Basically, Ryan is a third-generation family-held company, privately held, started in 1938. And for those of you that might think I was not there when it started in 1938, we started actually in Phoenix in 1994. So we've been here almost 24 years. We've developed about 20 million square feet of real estate. We've constructed about 24 million square feet of real estate. Most of that is actually office and multi-tenant office. Interestingly enough, we've done 27 projects in Tempe. We've done more projects in the city of Tempe than any other community in the valley, including State Farm, the third tower at Hayden Ferry, 11 build-to-suits at ASU Research Park, So we've got a long history in Tempe in this community, and we're proud and pleased to be able to say that. Today, we're a company here of 150 people, and we have underway about $100 million of real estate today in design and development. Most of that is actually multi-tenant office. So I'm happy to answer whatever other questions you might have regarding Ryan, and if not, we'll hand it.
Yeah, I'm just going to turn, sorry, John, quickly, I don't know if you want to talk through just some representative projects of Ryan's that you may have seen, just to give you a sense of that. And I'll just, if you want to talk to any projects, or I'll just take it away.
You can take it away.
Okay.
And I'm happy to come back and answer whatever questions you might have.
Thank you, John.
Thanks. Well, I should say one more thing. We have a partner in this venture, and that is University Realty, which is the real estate arm of the ASU Foundation. And Don Comian, partner, is here tonight. They are our partner. We have a partnership agreement executed with them, and we're excited about being able to move forward in a joint venture with University Realty. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, John. So briefly, as I think we've talked about, and for some of you know, this is the first of a three-phase of office that is going to start on what we call now as phase 3 of Novus, which is also part of the University Rural mixed-use neighborhood that we talked about as part of that sub-district. This is the first phase of the office, so this is the general location of the site. Again, just laid out here, you can see we're talking about, oops, sorry. Let's make this work out. I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but we're talking about basically this parcel as it lays out right here for the first phase of a three-phase office. And then soon we'll be talking about the multifamily that goes up in that sub-district. This is, and I think some of you have seen, but this is generally kind of the layout that we have shown throughout the year in the form of how just the form of the University Rural Mixed-Use Neighborhood. In addition to this is University. The new ISTV 7 building will be here, and so there will be, as we develop Novus Place, a strong connection that we would see from the campus through Novus Place, you know, both through what will be Novus Place here, this strong connection, and a strong connection along rural, just to give you a sense of how projects are going to develop. And what we hope you'll see as we come forward, you know, in the next kind of months and years ahead, is as projects develop, these will be, what we're going to have is have, whether it's architects or somebody, actually put in the actual project. So you will see this kind of what is now just SketchUp building form to show how projects are developing with the neighborhood we said was going to happen and the neighborhood as it does actually happen, to give you a sense of progression through the years. So this is just to give you some representative images of what we anticipate going to see in terms of mixed use, kind of the pedestrian connection, pedestrian walkway in this neighborhood, and certainly the strong connection of Novus Place that we see will be kind of a bigger, expanded, more like kind of the way college works, but certainly stronger in terms of pedestrian walkway, is a through travel street, but then can be closed down to be a pedestrian experience with strong retail component that you'll see both from Ryan and from Aspen today. So I'm going to turn it over to Richard, who's going to talk a little bit about the design philosophy and this building, and then we're happy to answer any questions. Well, Richard, you can take, just read the office building and take it away.
Well, thanks for having us. So as Manjula indicated, this is a 6-story Class A office, 161,000 square feet approximately. The building is essentially an L shape in plan on the north side of the block 34 that you saw, block 3A that you saw. The design seeks to be, again, timeless, contemporary, clean, high-tech, a very nice addition to Tempe and this location. So we have a very slick, clean office building shape and form and design that I'll show you and walk you through. We also have an adjacent plaza to it, which actually adjoins the new Novus Way. I keep thinking G Street, but it's Novus Way. So we have an outdoor plaza that, again, is going to contribute to this streetscape and G Street experience, along with retail and with lobbies and with a lot of amenity spaces that are programmed as well as open. This is sort of a general site condition as it is now with an overlay of the new building. You can see the footprint of the first floor. You can see in the lower left of the red outline, that's the plaza space, as well as to the south and east of that as well. Let's move on. This is the building outline on the first floor with the plaza space. And here I'll sort of talk about the plaza and how it really sort of ties into Novus Way. On the left, you'll see essentially a more programmed, hardscaped plaza area where we envision a lot of events occurring. There could be food trucks, there could be a lot of seating and a mixed use of things that becomes more active as it ties into the whole north-south Novus Way experience with the retail and the shading and the trees. To the east, you'll see in the lower right of that triangle, that's our East Plaza, which acts more as sort of a buffer to rural road, both for noise and for just general congestion. We want people to be able to go out there and be able to kind of sit and relax, and it's a little more of a quieter buffer space. There'll be more trees on that side, built-in seating, things like that, so that the outdoor spaces really become a nice amenity to the whole neighborhood and really kind of tie into the project. The future phase of the south will probably be a somewhat similar footprint building, so we're going to kind of embrace that plaza with buildings in the end to really kind of create a strong urban place, urban space that will be a signature piece to the entire development. Once we do all three buildings and then the garage fills in, we want to create that as really kind of a signature identity space. All the other streetscape around the project will conform to the Novus Innovation Corridor design guidelines, textures and finishes, paving, trees, amenities, site amenities, all those things will really kind of tie in with the master plan. And you see some of that here from the master plan document in terms of shade is important, trees, outdoor seating, hardscape, various textures, colors, finishes, materials, to really kind of create a very rich urban environment at that street level. This is another diagram. We're in the lower right corner. Here. Sort of here. This is our general site. And again, how we're tying in with our project to that basic streetscape master plan organization. What the graphic doesn't show is our building is actually tight to the northwest corner, so that we really bring our retail and our building right to that hard edge to create the urban edge that we want on those streets. This is the ground floor of the project, and again, you see the retail is in red, up to 8,400 square feet approximately, which we envision being able to really kind of enjoy that streetscape location. We can have doors that can open out, outdoor seating on the sidewalks, or especially to the plaza to the south. We've set the glass on the first floor back on the building so that we can shade the first floor and create really venues where you can kind of spill out and have outdoor seating, and a lot of life can really kind of flow in and out of the building at that level. The yellow is some flex office space, which is on the rural road side. That's really office space. The lobby is in the center, as you can see. So as you come from the parking garage, which is another component west of Novus Way, most of the tenants will actually be coming across our plaza, so the plaza becomes this really kind of wonderful front door as you come into the building, and you see where the lobby enters here, as well as a street lobby to the north on Packard Drive as well. Our first floor is over height, so again, we can accommodate retail and some really nice office space in the lobby on that floor. This is, now looking at the architecture, this is the northeast corner, fronting rural and Packard. We created a kind of a signature tower element. We really want to kind of create a really dramatic statement on rural in that corner. And you can see we have a full height wall that goes up to our mechanical screen, which is a gray metal panel skin. Typically in this building throughout, we're doing full height glazing. So you see the ribbon glazing on the office floors. Again, we want to create daylighting. We want to create a really nice Class A office, full height glass. So you'll see that throughout the building. You see the overheight first floor. You can also see here where the lobby comes off of Packard. And to the right is where the retail will actually front onto Novus Way and G Street. So that's kind of our corner. Let's go to this is the rural road east elevation side. Here we start to see more of the typical facades of the building. What we've done to really kind of enliven the massing is on the east and the west elevations for sun control. We have vertical metal fin shade devices that you see. They give kind of this fun little texture of metal that, again, shades the glass and really kind of creates a nice high-tech signature piece. The top floor office is set back, you can see in this area, to kind of create a penthouse overheight office suite, and we have an overarching roof shape that, again, creates this architectural effect that really gives us a strong image of base, middle, and top for a building. We want to, again, articulate the massing and create a very strong skyline effect for the building that you can see. Southeast corner exposure. Here we start seeing some of the south elevations of the building. You can see we have horizontal sunshades on all of the ribbon windows on the south. Again, that's for sun control and also to create that architectural interest on the building. Typically, the office floors, we're using a green tinted, low-E, non-reflective glazing throughout, so we don't have issues of glare reflection. It's really kind of a gray green. It's not as green as this graphic indicates. It's really a very beautiful green, and we have material boards that we can share with you if there's a concern there. And let's move on around. This is the southwest exposure. Plaza's in the foreground, and you can see more of the west elevations now with the vertical sun shading elements, the south with the horizontal sun shading again, and the general, again, massing of the building as it will start to embrace that plaza area and Novus Way. This is the northwest corner. This one shows how the retail really comes out to the street edge to create that front. Retail tenant storefronts will be developed that you'll have a variety of materials. They'll have canopies and fabric canopies and canopies that will extend the shading on the building beyond what is suggested by this very simple diagram here. The building itself does actually overhang on Novus Way, again, creating more of that shading on the street and respecting that master plan guideline of really tightening in on that street to create shade and to create pedestrian-friendly environment on that street. And so that's why the retail is where it is and why we've done what we've done. And that's kind of a quick overview. Again, very exciting project, very exciting. So if you have any questions, Michael,
So that's our question. One thing we do want to mention that this building will be LEED Silver,
Okay.
and consistent with President Crow's commitment to sustainability. So I do want to mention that. We're happy to answer any questions. I don't know if Soprano wanted to make a staff.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if any of the committee members have any questions of staff, or else we are happy to make a statement about our recommendation, however you want to proceed.
And do you have a question? In view of the fact that we do have a couple of members on the committee that were not here for the study session on this project, would you please be willing to make a staff presentation? Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Chair and committee members. I will briefly go through the project since it's just going to summarize what's already been presented. But this development plan review request is for the property at 777 East Packard Drive, which is north of the northwest corner of Rural and University. The applicant is requesting a development plan review, including a site plan, building elevations, and landscape plan. The proposal includes a 6-story, 170 square foot office building with retail uses on the ground floor. Vehicular access to the loading and refuse area is from the north off Packard Drive. No on-site vehicle parking is provided at this development. The majority of the vehicle parking spaces are expected to be within the garage constructed by ASU on the west side of Novus Place. The plaza is planned on the south side of the building to serve as public open space, and a second building will be built on the south side of that to kind of enclose and shade the open space. The landscape plan has heritage live oak, mesquite, and desert museum trees along Rural Road. Oak is also used along Packard, and chamois ash trees are proposed along Novus Place, which will create a shaded pedestrian area. The 105-foot high building is primarily finished with green, gray, and clear glass with spandrels of black fiber cement panels between the floors. Clear ACM panels are used for both horizontal and vertical shading devices, as well as a deep projecting roof on the 6th floor for the deck up there. The rooftop mechanical is screened by the ACM panels. Staff is recommending approval of the development plan review subject to the conditions listed in the staff report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. When this is all built out, it'll be great. I have no doubt. There will be this interim condition, though, when some things will be done and some won't. And I think the next project we're about to hear will have 400 or 500 students coming out of a student housing project and going to campus. And I think they're going to want to go down Novus Way, or Novus Place, sorry. So is Novus Place going to be finished and open, or still closed off for a bit, or?
So you'll find as one of the conditions in both of the staff reports that the traffic impact study, final traffic impact study, has to be approved by transportation prior to issuance of building permits. And so as part of that, traffic will be deciding which roadways have to be completed prior to C of O for either of those buildings. So they will determine, where traffic is expected to go and which roadways will need to be completed prior to that. My assumption is yes, because there's going to have to be a parking garage for this building on the west side of Novus Place. Novus would be constructed along with it.
Great, thank you so much.
Any other questions from the committee? Thank you very much. This is a public meeting. Are there any members of the public who wish to address the committee regarding regular agenda item number 4? If not, I would look to the committee as to their wishes on how they choose to move forward. We have action required tonight. Do I hear a motion from the committee?
So moved.
Mr. Blavia has moved for approval of agenda item number 4, 777 Tower at Novus. Is there a second? Ms. Charrier has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion among the members of the committee? Any comments? If not, I would call for your vote. All those in favor of approving 777 Tower at Novus signify by saying yay. Yay. All those opposed? Same sign. Okay. And the regular agenda item number 4, 777 Tower at Novus, is approved. The next agenda item, number 5, is a request of a development plan review for multifamily residential units with restaurant and retail in Aspen Heights. It's a mixed-use development. Again, the applicant is Gamage and Burnham.
Again, for your record, my name is Manjula Voslov from Gamage and Burnham. I am going to talk, Patrick Brennan's going to talk a little bit. I'm here on behalf of Aspen Heights. One thing that I did want to correct just briefly with Commission Member Sumner's, this is one of the purposes, and since you're new here, of kind of the residential in Novus is that it will not be student housing. Everything, while there may be students living here, the specific prohibition, on making student housing, Aspen makes multifamily, so it'll be for rent, market rate, multifamily, because as you probably know, the ASU has other people who make student housing. So we won't be making public, trying to put a mixture of uses just within the project, just to give you a sense. So we don't expect all these people, at the same time, yeah, obviously the traffic study will be completed and the master developer will complete infrastructure prior to these projects being opening. But I don't, this project will not be filled with 400 students, just as a comment. But Patrick is going to talk to you about what it's going to be filled with. So here's Patrick Brennan from Aspen, who's going to talk a little bit about Aspen Heights, and he's going to run through his projects, and then we'll run through the project.
Thank you, Manjula. Hi, Patrick.
Hello, how are you doing this evening?
Good, how are you?
Very well. Thank you for taking the time to hear about our project this evening. So a little bit about Aspen Heights. We were founded in 2006. In the recession, moving through, we actually built over $1 billion worth of development. So in that short period, we've done 41 communities in over 19 states. Most of those were in the Southeast. Our headquarters is in Austin, Texas, upon which we have 3 projects that are currently either under construction or finished. One of them is Concord, which is a 3-story multifamily project that is all wood construction. Another is Rise on 8th, which was a high-rise condominium, multifamily project that was finished and actually sold to Wyndham as a to be a hotel and timeshare. And then now we have a 58-story condominium high-rise called the Independent. Also on this is 511 Meeting Street, which is in Charleston, South Carolina, 221-unit project on the peninsula, which, if anybody knows, is not very easy to do with the BAR. So we work very well with the community with projects like this. We also have another master plan community that we're working with the City of Las Vegas on their 60-acre Symphony Park project. So from that, we've worked very diligently with Catellus, who's also in Austin, Texas, and we look very much forward to sharing this project with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Vaz.
I'm going to just talk a little bit about, again, the site, and some of you have seen it and some of you haven't, but again, here is the location of our first multifamily adjacent to 6th Street, and then it'll be certainly a prominent part of Novus Place, sorry. Again, you guys are going to see this map, from now until the end of time as we kind of work through each one of these blocks. But for now, we're going to talk about, this is phase 3, and again, this is the first multifamily phase as it's right there. But I think it'll be cool as we start to fill in the little blocks. It'll be fun to walk, just march east. Again, so the building form that as we originally proposed for the University Rural Mixed Use Neighborhood, as this is part of, and you can see how it'll start forming as you see each one of these projects come through. And as we just saw this earlier, again, representative images of Novus Place, and you'll see with Aspen how the residential and the retail will open out onto Novus Place, which will certainly add a lot more mixture and bodies, and we think will really activate kind of the pedestrian environment. Just briefly, I'll go through this, and Claire will talk about some of the design. Briefly, it's basically 7-story mixed use. It has 5- and 6-story levels, 262 multifamily residential units, 27,000 square feet of retail. We have a fitness center. There's a rooftop bar, yoga studio, and you'll see kind of big outdoor patios along 6th Street and Novus Place. Again, here's just a site plan to get a sense of it. And now you've seen where the office is, how you can see how they will start to combine together. So we have some residential and office coming in. And as Karen stated, there will be ASU's building a garage over here that will be that will be built for both office and then for ASU uses, and then for some of the stadium for the new stadium uses. So it'll be a multi-use garage for different ASU events. This is to give you a very brief idea of how the building is set up in terms of where the restaurant's located adjacent to Novus Place, and the residential lobby, which Claire will go through, courtyards, and then how we have the fitness and yoga centers set up. So I'm going to turn it over to Claire. She's going to talk a little bit about, these are design guidelines you've seen, but how they've then incorporated them into their design.
Thanks.
Thank you. Was it Claire?
Claire, yes.
Welcome, Claire.
Thank you, with Calston RTKL. I'm actually going to go back one slide and just walk you guys through this plan a little bit more. So we do have restaurants and retail fronting 6th Street and Novus Place. The residential lobby is on 6th, like Angela said. On Packard, which is to the west and south, we have residential units coming all the way to grade. And we have that raised slightly, so we have stoop entrances. So residents can interact with pedestrians and also create their own sense of ownership over the street so that it's very safe. There's 2 courtyards creating our semi-private open space requirements, and then there's the 6-story parking garage that also has about 311 bike spaces in it, because we know Tempe is a very bike-friendly city. In terms of the residential coming down to grade, this is one of the requirements by Novus standards, that we have a stoop of at least 18 to 42 inches. So what we're planning on is about 18 inches at minimum. I think it goes up to maybe 20 inches, depending on the grade across the street. The residential open space requirements, we have 2 requirements. One is that we have private open space, such as balcony, immediately adjacent to a unit, and we have a 50% compliance, which is what they're requesting. So 50% of the units have an immediate balcony. And then for semi-private open space, for our project, we would be required to have 20% open space, and we comply with about 22% between those 2 courtyards and our rooftop amenity deck. Same streetscape design manual, a Shamel ash around Novus Place, and then some palms on 6th. It's very prescriptive requirements, and we comply with all of that. So I'm going to go through some renderings. You can get a sense of what it looks like from the street. This is on the northwest corner of 6th and Packard. So we recognize that we have a full city block that we're trying to fill up, and instead of making it one big monolithic building that's slightly overwhelming to the pedestrian, we've broken it up into 3 smaller individual distinct blocks. So this is the first block. It's very unique character of exposed concrete. It's a Class A concrete finish, and we're contrasting that raw, very heavy feel with this light white storefront to kind of get this old and new look. And then very unique residential above it with all brick facade and metal panel shading around the larger windows and balconies. Because we recognize that even though this is on the north facade, it does get some western exposure, and we're trying to shade residents from that. This part of the facade is across from Canopy Walk, will be Canopy Walk on 6th. So we're trying to create a very open storefront to relate to all the activity that's going on across the street so that everything can kind of visibly flow across. Oops, excuse me. Jumping down to Novus Place, we have a break in the building where we're trying to create those individual looking buildings with masses. And what we're doing is creating a cascading stair coming out of the garage. So if you're a retail patron and you came to the garage to park, you can come down this really nice landscape stair. We have a little mini plaza. If there's events on Novus Place, you can sit on the stair and it becomes a sort of amphitheater. And above that, right above that is a small amenity terrace for the residents so that we can get a unique connection between all the users. So residents can look down on what's happening on Novus Place and retail patrons, they can interact with them and create a really unique, special place. We're also screening, just in more practical terms, we're also screening the garage architecturally and carrying this gold screen across in a few different elements. This would be a typical storefront along Novus Place. So really high-end materials, very durable materials. It's all stacked stone, metal panel, commercial-grade storefronts. We do envision that retail patrons would be able to fill in with their own storefronts underneath the canopy. So all the canopies would be continuous around the site, and so we'd have lots of shade that would be provided by us, and they could create a unique storefront by themselves. And you can also see in this that where we have these retail portions pulling out, that creates a natural balcony for the residents above where they can look down on the street front and interact with patrons as well. I'm going to jump back to 6th Street. This is the dining paseo. So we've created a sort of natural corridor between the north courtyard and the streets to allow building porosity and get a breeze through there. So you'd always have covered dining, and it would have a natural breeze and be a really unique place to come and dine. And then we've upgraded some of the finishes by having a nice wood ceiling that we're carrying throughout and an interesting lighting effect to really create an interesting sense of space. This is the southwest corner, and actually the southeast corner, and actually the northeast corner mirrors the same condition. We've pulled the corner back just a little bit and given an outdoor dining space to the retail tenant there. So that's the opposite corner. And activating the corner a little bit more also by having corner balconies that are accented in a contrasting color. And then bringing all of the streets, the sidewalk paving into that space to create a continuous flow. This is the elevation along Packard. And we recognize that Packard is a service street, and it does not get the same traffic as other streets. And so we brought the residential down to grade And we do have a large monolithic facade, and what we're trying to do here is break it up with an interesting pattern of materials and an interesting rhythm of windows. So it's an all brick facade, and we start with the dark red that you guys saw earlier on the material board, and it fades up gradually to white to meet the sky. And then we have variegated pattern of windows, and occasionally that's punctuated with larger openings for balconies. Just another view of that, and you can see how all of the street furnishings and the large trees interact with that and create shading. We recognize also that this is a facade that gets a lot of western and sun exposure. So we've made concessions to that by creating these small L-shaped shading devices on the larger windows. And we ran our own solar studies and tested a bunch of different sizes and locations and variations, and this is the one that provides the most shade and creates the best views as well. So, and I think this is the very last view I have to show you. This gives you a really great sense of what those stoops will be like on the ground floor along Packard, and how people have their own small private space. They can come and go. They can access it from here or from inside the corridor. And it gives a better ownership over the street, really creates that sense of ownership and safety that we're all looking for when you have a ground floor residential unit. And I think this is a really great illustration of how the brick starts to fade out and how it's accented by the white metal panel, the perforated panel railings, and then warmed up with the wood soffits. Any questions?
Very nice, Claire, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, are there any questions from the committee at this time? If not, again, because a couple of our members were not here for the study session in May, could I please ask for a staff report and recommendation?
Good evening, Chair, committee members. My name is Obina Kingsby, planner 2 with the City of Tempe. I'll be honest, the applicant did a really good job presenting there. I don't have anything to really add as far as the details of the project goes in itself. But what I would like to add is that in discussions with the applicants, we would like for condition number 9 to be read into the record upon taking a motion tonight.
Yes, okay.
Yes. I can answer any questions you have, particularly if there's anything that you want further details on about the project.
Are there any questions for Mr. Is it Obina?
Obina.
Okay,
Right.
thank you. So when we,
We're recommending approval, I'm sorry.
okay, thank you, thank you. This is a public meeting. Are there any members of the public who wish to address the committee about regular agenda item number 5 for Aspen Heights? If so, please approach the podium. Seeing none, we'll move on. The committee may consider making a motion. If you're going to move for approval, would you please make as part of your motion the revision to condition of approval number 9 that was given to us earlier?
Madam Chair, I so move for approval of
And should we read that into the record? If you would please read it, Mr. Lufkin.
for the above grade amenity deck adjacent to Novus Place.
Oh, I think you might have to reread it. I believe your microphone was not operating. Can we try it again, please?
I'll do it.
Sorry.
Stipulation 9, based on staff approval, is for the above-grade amenity deck adjacent to Novus Place. The applicant shall work with staff to provide either a minimum 6-foot-high wall measured from floor grade or landscape planners on the exterior or interior of the wall to act as a buffer from the building edge. The city may accept another alternative design that meets the intent of this condition.
Thank you, Mr. Lufkin. Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second.
Okay. Nicole Luoma has moved to second the motion. Are there any other comments or questions from the committee? Yes, Scott.
Sorry, just a very quick one. Just a commendation to staff and the design team for the high quality of design at the pedestrian level. It's so very important. I did see stucco on a board, and it's at about 75 or 80 feet up. Nobody will ever see it. So that's something we always talk about at Development Review Commission. And this one's very, very, I'm happy to support it. Great to see high quality at the pedestrian level. Thanks.
It has been moved and seconded that the committee approve the request of a development plan review for Aspen Heights, agenda item number 5. The motion included the revision to the condition of approval number 9 as read into the record. Is that sufficient? All of those members who are favor approving of Aspen Heights, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And agenda item number 5, Aspen Heights, is approved. Okay, we're getting to the end of our agenda. And item number 6 is miscellaneous and announcements. And I believe we do have at least one announcement from a committee member this evening. If I could please ask Scott Sumners to speak to us.
Sure. I'd just like to welcome Essie Farida Geraldo, who is, we had the opportunity to host her as part of their stay with the ASU Mandela delegation. And Essie is from Togo, and she's a city planner, so we thought she would appreciate coming to see how things work in Tempe. So welcome, and thank you for coming tonight.
Welcome. Are there any other announcements from committee members? All right, then we'll move on to staff announcements, agenda item number 7. Suparna?
Madam Chair, committee members, I do not have any announcements at this time, but if we were to hold a meeting, we will inform you again for the next meeting. As of right now, we do not have an agenda for August, but if we happen to have one, we will inform you in advance. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all the staff members that presented tonight. Appreciate your work to keep us on task and to keep us organized. Thank you to Gamage & Burnham and the representatives from both Aspen Heights as well as Ryan Companies and University Realty. Thank you for your attention this evening, and this meeting is adjourned.